Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Play Dirty, starring Mark Wahlberg, Lakeith Stanfield, Rosa Salazar, Keegan Michael Key, Chuck Woody Iwuji, forgive me if I said that wrong, Nat Wolff, Gretchen Moy, Thomas Jane, and Tony Shalhoub, directed by Shane Black. Now, welcome back to Shane Black, as this movie is only available on Amazon Prime Video. And how did it get there? Well, that's up to Shane Black to say. But yeah, let's get into this. I have seen this twice. Is it as good as I want it to be? Let's get into it. We open in a heist with Parker, played by Mark Wahlberg, and Philly Webb, played by Thomas Jane, aka the Old Punisher from 2004. Zen, played by Rosa Salazar and others, in a hostage situation as they interrogate a hostage while robbing a warehouse and speak with the supervisor while the boss named Joe arrives at the crime scene with his family and shoots one of the hostages, which is an employee at the warehouse, dead. And Parker goes after Joe, and as Philly is also wounded, and they get to a horse track. And I'm like, oh God, don't kill the horses, or some dude get hurt. As does the jockeys. And some of the horses look like shitty CGI. Like, it's not funny. It's so bad. Until Parker shoots Joe dead and takes his money, which gives $10,000 to his family, whom he shouldn't have involved in the first place. And they take off with Parker and Zen in their own car, and the opening is a desperate way to open a movie from the get-go. Parker, Philly, Zen get back to their crewmates as Parker washes up, and Zen kills everyone in the crew except for Parker as he makes it out of the river. And what a waste of Thomas Jane, as Shane Black has done him no favors whatsoever after this and that awful film they did together, The Predator. And he's really bad in this. Mark Wahlberg comes off one note as bland as hell, and everybody else is terrible in this fucking movie. Absolutely terrible. As we move on to Christmas time in New York City with a man named Kincaid, played by Nat Wolff, telling his boss Lozini, played by Tony Shalhoub, that Parker is back in New York. And what the fuck is it with director Shane Black sending his movies at Christmas time? Like this to Iron Man 3 and the original written film Lethal Weapon, which he wrote. Now this is getting obnoxious. This is becoming an obnoxious habit of Shane Black, as he really needs to knock that shit off. As Parker is in a different motel room where he stays originally at the motel in particular, and the man has a room in room 12's pants car and takes off with them. And this is some shitty writing, as this whole fucking movie is shitty from the get-go. Parker goes to Philly's house, and his wife, Grace, played by Gretchen Mol, and tells her her husband is dead and Zen killed him, promises her to kill Zen if he ever bumps into her ever again. And he calls his friend Alan Grofield, played by Lakeith Stanfield, at his theater for plays in New Jersey, and hires him to look for Zen, and goes to De La Paz for Zen's location, and they get followed as Parker drives off until he gets into an accident and Zen's people shoot at him. And Parker gets out of it alive and drives a lot while asking the last guy where Zen is at after shooting him in the leg. And this is a stupid plot right out the fucking bat. Zen talks with Bosco until Parker comes in and shoots Bosco twice as Zen is setting a heist job for $4 million, as Parker almost kills off Zen, but she says they're going to rob an entire country, and he explains the plot, which is stupid enough as it is, and Zen brings Parker into the group robbing the country. And I don't give a shit, but what beef does Lozini have with Parker? And Parker brings Grofield to the heist and meets Colonel Ortiz, and they learn more about the job. And the acting in this is painful to listen to, and each and every character is very one note. It makes no damn sense. Parker and Grofield talk over the plan for the heist, as Grofield believes Parker is motherfucking crazy for doing this heist in New York City, while looking for Kincaid to chat with him and about joining their heist with them. As Zen and Parker talks with Nick, and Grofield follows Kincaid, and they tell Nick Bosco is dead, and get their plans, and they learn about Mr. Bluey after until Kincaid comes in and gives Nick a fucking heart attack, and Zen pretends to be a doctor and kills the motherfucker's dead, with Parker getting out of there to get the plans while Parker is having a lame action scene with Kincaid and almost dies but crashes on a police car as the action sequences are just lame as hell. Lozini comes to Kincaid's house and asks what happened and says they found Parker but not Bosco. And he tells them dead, and same with Nick. And we get to Brooklyn to Stan Devers, Ed Mackey, played by Keegan Michael Key, and his wife Brenda, meeting with Parker, Zen, Grofield, and the Colonel at the Mackey's house to go over the plan. And Stan is the most annoying motherfucker in this whole movie, as he got on my nerves as they prepared for the heist, as Zen tells the story of the origin of what they're going to steal to Parker, as he believes they're stealing a treasure, until Zen's boyfriend Mateo breaks into their hotel room, and the cinematography just looks awful. Mateo strips Parker naked in the snow and tortures him until Zen comes in and kills one of his guys and dumps Mateo's ass with Parker putting on some clothes, and Mateo is killed by some assassins led by Lozini, and he calls them getting Parker on the phone, and they talk shit to each other, and the dialogue is preposterous to death. It's not funny, as Lozini says the treasure is coming tonight, and so the heist was supposed to be the next day, and it's happening now, and Grofield gets everybody prepared while they're drunk, and they do the heist, and it doesn't turn out super successful, starting with Ed and Brenda breaking into a train station disguised as one of the workers. They're beating up on the real robber on the train station while Stan is drunk and out of his fucking mind and pukes and takes off with the truck. And all of this is completely stupid, as this is a stupid movie. Grofield switches the tracks on the train and almost gets himself killed twice by the train, and the second time was jumping out on the ledge, but makes it alive. Otherwise, meanwhile, the train goes past the Colonel and Zen, seeing the train passing by them while Stan hits Grofield. And he also hits the wall where the train goes by, and Grofield hits the brakes on the train on the outside with the bullet. And the train goes on the streets of New York and causes some damages thanks to where they're at and getting chased by the cops. And this is supposed to be a disaster movie, because it is a disaster of a movie. After the disaster of a heist, Zen leaves to get home with a story of when Parker was a kid dealing with some bullies taking over a basketball court, and he got him back by destroying their bikes, which is how he got to be a thief to begin with. And he's the fucker that with the plan, which is a quote Parker said, and to Zen. And I guess it's clever, which is what I'll give the movie. And I like that piece of dialogue, as Mark Wahlberg said to Parker. And Parker and Grofield get to Kincaid's place by being disguised as cops, to asking him a question about the thing they tried to steal, and get some information from the woman Kincaid was with. And when they barge in, which is a painfully stupid scene, Parker interrupts the meeting with a rich asshole named Phoenix Paul, played by Chuck Woody Iwuji, and kidnaps him to ask him questions while the robbers scare the shit out of Phoenix. And he says they have to go through a giant safe and go over the plan while Stan watches over him and acts weird around him. And eventually Stan falls asleep, and Phoenix gets away as they pull off the heist, with Zen jogging and Grofield hitting the camera system and rob the place as they blow up the safe, and the robbers get what they steal and drag it back to their hideout and get into a chase sequence. And like the action sequences, this is a lame chase sequence. Grofield makes a turn and loses what they're stealing, and Lozini brings the treasure to Phoenix's house, and he feels as he's going to be a rich man, and Lozini gets a call by saying they have the real one while Phoenix has the fake one, which I guess is clever. And Lozini gets to Parker with a gun and monologues about how he knew of the plan and how much it didn't work. And I thought, blah, 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 and oh, I don't give a shit. Until Parker sets a bomb on it while Stan was interrogated by Lozini's men, and they beat him up until Zen and his men shoot the men dead, and Grillfield gets Stan the fuck out of there as they blow up the piece of art and they stole that. At this point, I don't like these characters, and I don't care whether they get away with it or go to fucking prison. Parker kills Lozini, and they get out of it as Parker gets some diamonds from the art, and they stole. And everybody is excited. They're making a fortune out of it as Parker watches some people play some basketball because of some memories he's told about at one point in the film. And suddenly goes to Zen's hotel room and say their goodbyes, and she invites Parker to her country, but he ends up killing her because of what she did in Philly in the beginning of the movie and tells Grace he killed the bitch. And the climax was just boredom and blah, 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 and I just don't give a fuck. As this is just as bad as The Predator, but maybe a little bit better. But by how much? Let's talk about it in a rating. I'll give this movie a 3.9 out of 10. This whole movie is a desperate way for Shane Black to make a movie in the first place, as this is a waste of talent from the actors because they're terrible in this, absolutely terrible, as Shane Black really needs to knock off the whole setting the time of his movies at Christmas time, as this is the third, maybe fourth time he's done that after this, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Iron Man 3, and the original Lethal Weapon, which he wrote, as it gets old real fast, and the writing in this is shitty. And the same goes with the CGI on this pile of garbage of a movie. The plot is very stupid right off the fucking bat, as the acting in this is painful to listen to, and each and every character is very one note, and the action sequences are lame as hell, as Stan is the most annoying motherfucker in this whole movie, to a point he got on my last nerves, and with the cinematography looking awful, and the dialogue is preposterous. It's not funny. This is a stupid movie while it doesn't know what it wants to be, so it's a damn mess, with it being a disaster movie, which makes this a non-recommendation for this movie, as this might be, with The Predator, one of the terrible movies in director Shane Black's career. But the only thing I'll give the movie is, as far as a compliment goes, is I like the piece of dialogue Mark Wahlberg said, which is, "I'm the fucker with the plan," which is good, but as for the rest of the movie, it sucks. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me for returning to Shane Black, as I reviewed his movies before, and I will say his directed films. And until then, he directs another film, pair up because you're now buddies.